Hey everybody, Steven here playing Subnautica Below Zero, and today we are looking at the latest updates the dev team has done this week. They're still fixing a lot of bugs, and a lot of bugs, but we do have some new stuff in-game here. I wanted to let it stack before I did one video, because there just wasn't anything substantial that could kind of make it so that there was a need for just one video for it. But right now, the intro here, we're going to see, and actually posted about this, so you have Liam fixed the textures that look like they were kind of disappearing and coming in and out, and he actually addressed why that was going on in his video, his Twitch stream that he did, which was really cool. But just to get the insight behind it too, because it had to do with I guess how they're importing textures, if I remember correctly. But with that, he actually fixed that. You got to see him do that. So they simply raised the textures up a little bit. So we're going to see that's fixed. We actually have 4546B back in game. They've adjusted the distance of the planets as well. So you can see here everything looks as it should look. We see the planet off in the distance. And like I said before, it was actually like coming in and out constantly. It looked really weird. But if you want to watch that video, I posted about it, and that actually has the link for that. And it looks like they improved the texture of the planet, by the way, a little bit here. I don't think it's the final product. I think we're going to see potentially us going through the atmosphere, or they're going to improve the texture so it looks a little bit better on that portion. Alright. But other than that, everything else is the same. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is one of the bigger ones. We're going to go check out the radio tower here in this portion of the story where you actually shut it down. So one of the first big things is the platform itself has been updated with the look. They've actually updated the coloring of this as well. So everything's in place now. It's not just that plain white. This didn't have just plain white on it. We actually had the bottom coloring, but they've changed that a little bit as well. So they've tweaked a lot of this stuff. Add color to the railing, the platform, all of that. And then obviously the animation with it. But we're actually about to see that change here. So let's actually build this thing that we need really quick too, so you guys can see that. I'm still wondering when they're going to put in the staircase, because I know I've seen that on the can't remember, somebody posted, I don't know if it was Discord or something like that, but they showcased them actually tinkering with it. That may be another Twitch stream. Alright, so once we have this, where is it? Tools, equipment, electronics. There it is. Test override module, right? Parallel processing unit. I don't know what that is, but I think that's what you scan in the ships now, the crashed ship, and then you need that to make this, right? So you need the parallel processing unit, titanium, lead, copper wire. But I think that's what you actually get out of the ships now. All right. So once we have this, I've seen little things like them working on reflective surface stuff, texture stuff. So that right there, that's what it used to look like inside of the opening sequence, the ship that you're in, the cargo ship. But he said all you have to do is kind of raise those textures up and then it fixes it. So, alright, this is new as well. So looking at the inside of this, looks really cool. Just how they did the electronics. And then once we have that, boom, done. This should do it, and then we'll see this thing. Try to figure out what it's doing. So it basically like shuts down and then it boots back up. And then we're going to get a call from Margaret. But they also have the sound in there as well of, you hear the stuff coming in and out, the electronic components of it working, the hum of it. Alright, so we have that. Oh, that is new. I did not know they had that. Alright, Margaret's icon. That looks really, really cool. That's awesome. Try and get a good solid image of it. There it is. I like that picture. Alright. And then cryptic greenhouse directions, or directions to greenhouse. That's been in there for a minute. Then let's go free cam. Let's take off the fog. Alright, so the next thing we're going to look at is the blending of the purple vents biome into the East Arctic here. So they've improved that, which is what you're seeing on the side here. So don't know if it's 100% done with this, but we see this blending into this other biome. Also, if you could tell, we have the Arctic rays in here, titanhole fish, and then we actually have the schools of the red featherfish finally in game. But right now it's like crazy saturated. Like, look how many. I'll bring the water volume back on. Look at that. That's ridiculous. I don't think they're going to keep it like this. That looks crazy to me. There's so much going on. But they have a lot of them in game right now. It does look like everything in general has been slightly more polished. Like I said, with that anti-aliasing, I don't know if that applies to everything. It just, the shininess of the surfaces too. I think that's something else that I read on the Subnautica Changes Twitter account. But it's looking really, really good. All right, so the blending here has been improved. And this works its way up into the sparse Arctic a little bit. Bring the water volume back off. So then we have this blending over here as well, which they've done a really good job with. I haven't covered it in a while. I mean, this area over here in the sparse Arctic, just now that they've added in all this stuff over here, it's not really, I don't even know if they're going to call it the sparse Arctic anymore. Let's ghost in. Nope, they're still going to call it that. But, I mean, it's a little sparse, but we still got stuff going on. And it doesn't go far back, so. But all of this, since I haven't covered it, it's been in game for a while, but the tweaking that they've done, adding in the grass, I mean, just all the stuff that they've done right here is looking really, really good. Where before, if you remember, it was just flat, plain, nothing going on. And just the density they've done with everything, and I've talked about that before, but it looks really, really good. All right, so after that, let's see. They've worked on the Iceberg area. Just sitting here, I can't tell a huge difference outside of the featherfish and all these other things. So maybe an improvement to some textures and things like that. Looking at additions to the outside of the icebergs here. It doesn't seem like they've done anything here. So curious to see what they actually put in there. I'm waiting for those one ice chunks to come back too. Still not back. So didn't really see anything over here or on the other side either. They did mention that. I mean, I saw one subtle thing. We'll cover it really quick, which is this hole right here to get up. So some minor tweaking to these icebergs. That, and then this area right here has been tweaked just a little bit. That blending of the biomes, which I think they do a great job with. But the other thing here is if you bring the water volume back on, it's not like crazy dark like it was before. You can actually see everything. Now we got all the schools of fish. And then the jellyfish here too. That's really, really cool. I like that. No, those are still the same. But the reflectiveness too off of this stuff seems like it's been improved. So we have that. Bring the water volume back off. I'm going to jump across the map because it's odd to me now too. This might be new, actually. I can't remember that being there. It's one of those things, I look at this stuff so often I start to forget what is here. Because I remember this one. I remember this. Don't remember that. But just now having this so close to the mining site, which to have all of this just slope all the way down is one of those things where my brain's trying to adjust. It looks really good, but my brain's trying to adjust because it was a different way for so long. But yeah, this has all been tweaked, but I've covered that in another video. So we're going to go into the transitionary area between the deep purple vents and the crystal caves. And we have a new addition down there, which people have been asking about, that we'll look at. Still love this huge vent right here. Is that animation frozen? Maybe. So once we go from here and we come down, so this space has been updated a little bit, right? Looks more crystals and things like that, more textures, more of the little gel lights. And then grass. We have our ribbon plants. Oh, and it's right here too. There it is. Kyanite is finally in game. That was the big thing. There you go. And people have been asking about that for a long time. But yes, it has finally made its way in game. And you can find it in the crystal caves here. There's a decent amount of it. I mean, it's not incredibly abundant. Not seen any of the big crystals where you can drill it, but this might be new also. I mean, the textures on the outside, that's probably what's throwing me off then. The rock that they've added, the grass stuff here. You have uranite down here, you have these plants. So there it is. Where this was just plain, and it's been like that for a long, long time to see all of it come together. And the spacing looks bigger now as well. And I think the dev team always nails it with the atmosphere in certain areas. Well, for the whole game, in my opinion. But like certain areas like this where it does take you to a different world for a second. So we have that. Kind of float through here a little bit more. Got crystals coming out of the wall over here. The blending of these crystals over here coming out of the wall. And then blending all the way over here. And because of all this stuff that they've added, it just seems way bigger to me now. I'm also curious how you're going to get a sea truck down here. So that leads you back to Marg's base, coming down through here. These areas are tighter now, as they've added all this stuff in. And then the rest of this is the same. Outside of, like I said, you can actually find Kyanite down here. Let's see if we can have some pop up really quick. There we go. So, it's around that, the rubies. Saw the one uranite. I think there's a handful more down here. That Shadow Leviathan freaking out. Wait, what is that? They're doing something weird. Alright, so we have all of that. I'm going to zoom back through here. Oh. Didn't realize it was night. Alright, so the blending of the lily pad biome into the this still considered the sparse Arctic? the East Arctic. They've started working on this again, and with that, I mean, it's a minor change, but you're seeing where they blend kind of the edge of the world into the void. It'll load in. There we go. So you can see that they start to do the work on it, and then they get to a stopping point. And it'll be those harsh edges that you see. But they've done this from here all the way down. It's still a work in progress, but you can see it goes here, goes straight down. Some of this they've already had. It's just that extra little bit of work that they've done on it. So that's going to be it for that. They've added the sea trunk planter. It's in here somewhere. To be honest, I just haven't really looked for it, but it is in game. Somebody was actually asking about that recently and where it was. It's in game. I just haven't spent the time to look for it. Wanted to cover all the rest of this. So my guess is these deeper biomes, you're either looking at the lily pad biome, and then the tunnels surrounding that, or you're going to look at the deep, twisty bridges. They've also added in, and we'll at least go down to the deep, twisty bridges here with that. But let's see if I can find this thing. Maybe down here. And the video I posted too earlier, I don't know if Lima was working on this. Let's bring that water volume back on just to check it out. If he was working on some of the vines down here, if he was just showcasing, because I remember seeing the area where it's showcasing how he kind of compiles them together. No, we're going to have to spend more time with that. Whoa. That shot me all the way over here, which now means that this thing is messed up. If I try to ghost back in. They've added the audio to the emotes. And I think that's going to cover it for this one. There's, like I said, a bunch of bug fixes that they've done. And they have improved the loading. You kind of see it gradually loads in versus just the quick pop. But the last thing I forgot to mention is the ice bubble. That's what I was trying to think of, where you actually cut it open with a laser cutter. It's actually supposed to have new audio with it. But unfortunately, looking around in game, they've all been opened already. So I'm wondering if they're going to... That's just a temporary bug right now, or they're just keeping it like that till they finish everything that they need with it, and then they do it. So that one's open. We have another one in one of these tunnels. But yeah, it's open too. So that's actually going to be it for this video. Yeah, they're still plowing ahead with all this stuff and adding quite a bit each week. This week hasn't been as big as last week, but a lot of polish and bug fixing going on. So, which that's a little bit harder to actually cover without just reading them off to you guys. But that is going to be it for this video. If you like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. Thanks so much for watching.